Before we get into today's video, I just need to remind everyone I am not a financial advisor. You must of course do your own due diligence, and please take this video today as entertainment only. Yeah. Coincidence. Yeah. Coincidence. Yeah. Coincidence. Something that happens by chance, I think not. What's the crack, everyone? Welcome back to Buy Wholesale. I hope you are all well and enjoying your weekend. A wee Sunday treat for you here, this belter of a video. I thought I'd kick it off with yet another sort of lithium play. We're looking at the mining section. I am going balls deep in mining, as you know. I'm loving the lithium. I'm loving trying to find mining that has all to do with batteries, and today's video is going to be no different. Before we get into it, please like, please subscribe, or go on the channel, hit the alert button, keep up to date with me. Don't forget about that, and also get me on Instagram, BHSDMB for that jazz. Check out the links in the bio for the Reuters article that I've done previously. It's a good read, guys, as you know. And also check out the link for free trade. Click that link. You and I both get a share up to £200 for Buckshe. Buckshe is Cockney term for free, guys. Don't forget that wee treat. It's good to get a bit of diversity. Don't forget that as well. So get another platform on the books, guys. Don't ever put your eggs all in one basket. Without further ado though, let's get into today's video. Today's video is on ferro-alloy resources, ticker symbol FAR, okay? So this video is yet another mining one. Now I am very bullish in the whole mining sector, but specifically mining that is going to result in batteries or storage for energy. The reason being is a very short story is, and I'm sure unless you live under a rock you understand what I'm talking about, the future's going green, guys. So what I'm trying to do is, rightly or wrongly, I am trying to find dirt cheap penny stocks that I hope will 5, 10, 15 extra money over a 10-year period. Now, all these picks all have catalysts that should, in theory, if they all hit the milestones, will throb. However, with that being said, they are highly risky. They are penny stocks, and I know for a fact not every single one of these will hit. But I have great confidence that if you pick enough with the ideal catalyst, that we will be able to find several that will throb, and they will make up for the ones that perhaps don't do so well. We've seen a lot of stuff in the news about EV plays, okay? So we know all about the Teslas and electric cars. Volkswagen just last week brought out a real bullish statement that they're going to be 70% market share of the European car sales for EV plays. Phenomenal statistics, okay? We're going to go down the route of solar panel, bigger storages, gigafactories, storing energy, creating energy. All of this need resources from raw materials, and that is why I believe mining sector is the key to this. So I am doing all the searching, all the due diligence I can to try and find as many of these good options for you to make your own decisions. And I will give you my thoughts and my opinions on what I'm going to do as well. And of course, you can, use that to whatever way you want, but you must do your own due diligence. These are high risk, and I really can't, express that enough. Disclaimer stuff out of the way. Let's get into today's video. So, what is ferro-alloy resources?
Tell us a bit about the company.
The company's Guernsey resident. We own several operating companies, all in Kazakhstan. The operations are in Kazakhstan. And we're already producing vanadium from a small operation, and we have a very large project which we're developing.
How much are you currently producing?
Very small at the moment. It's from a former pilot plant. We're producing about 150 tons of V2O5 vanadium pentoxide, but we have a plan with the money we're just raising to take that to about 10 times more, 1,500 tons per year, and that's just the little operation. That's not the project. The project takes us to an additional 22,000 tons a year. I'm
not going to subject us all to that full video there. Go on the YouTube and check it out yourselves. But like I said, they joined the stock market a couple of years ago. They had a sort of entry point of about 65p. They have since really went down. Now there's a couple of factors why. Price of vanadium, which is the big key thing of this year, which is what I want to talk about. It fluctuates with demand and supply like any material, and it's dictated by the price of the market. It's not dictated by these guys. So that's been low sort of for the last couple of years, but now it's starting to obviously throb due to the demand. Going back to what I was talking about earlier on the likes of Volkswagen and all these different companies looking to get supply chain issues. Now Tesla's throbbing. Tesla's got the supply chain issues all sorted out for the next 10 years. They've had that sort of for a long time, but everybody else is playing catch up. And this is why I see, an opening in the market for companies like this here to be able to fill the demand, and the demand's only going to get bigger. Also, the two directors of ferro-alloys is actually heavily invested in their own stock. They own about 45% of their shares, so that's also good. It's not just when the going gets tough, they'll get going. They're in this and they're planning to make this big. He was talking about their expansion things, and we're going to go into that now. But I just thought I'd point out those things firstly. Okay, guys, so the guy that was chatting there, you can actually go on and listen to him talking about the presentation, but it's a bit dry. Corporate presentation, July 2020. So obviously it's been out for a while. If you scroll down here, so Vanadium, just so everyone knows what this is all about, I'm obviously focusing on the battery storage, which I'll get into in a second, but the key thing actually in the main use for this to date has been steel. 90% consumed by global steel industry, so that's the majority of the money. Yes, top of the range alloys, and then we'll talk about the batteries in a moment. But the key thing is it adds strength and corrosion resistance to steel, better high temperature performance, and ability to exist in multiple oxygenated states. So just stronger top quality steel. So there is obviously a demand for that. With construction, there's always going to be a demand for better high quality steel, and that's how ultimately this company has made their money on to date. However, the landscape is changing, and the key thing here is about energy storage, and this is what I'm getting excited about. So if you go onto this chart here, you'll see the battery minerals, okay? So graphite, lithium, cobalt, indium, and then in fifth place is our vanadium, okay? So then you've got nickel and all that jazz. So that's the list of the top sort of percentages that they projected by 2050, and this is, like I said, this is a long-term hold, guys. Now, what makes vanadium so good? It can store energy for the longest period of time compared to most of these other ones. It is incredibly good. So you think about overnight, you think about maybe when you've got a sunny day and a dark day, and obviously a couple of nights, you'd want to be able to store that energy for the longest possible time. So solar panels is where I'm coming from more so on this, and the reason I think it's more going to be used for solar panels is because it's a heavy material, so you're not going to use it in your mobile phone. It's all about getting lighter. That's not what it's going to be used for. It's not going to probably be used for many cars because, again, you don't want your car weighed down. It could be used for longer, like semi-trucks, big heavy vehicles like that there, for the longer distance, being able to store that energy. Another thing that is good, and especially about this company, is not only is the resource very good, but Kazakhstan actually has an attractive operating environment. You can see here, smooth transition with the new president in 2019, the different types of things, 10% income tax, 20% profits tax, strong government support, investment incentive agreement signed with the government, main incentives given in respect of processing operations, 0% tax until 2026, and property tax exemption until 2024. All of this combined, and with the way they process it, it pretty much means that they can source this material cheaper than anybody else out in the world, and that's one of their selling factors on this here. They're saying that they can make it the cheapest. Not only are those key things that I've already talked about, they also have these other things, and this is where your projected revenue per ton. These are all the different types of things. Look, I've talked about concentrate, potassium, uranium. I've talked about all that in the previous videos. Not going to go over it again, but again, there's just more ways of generating money. Just to back up some of the stuff that I was talking about there, if we just go into some of the news articles that are out there, ferro-alloys will likely become the lowest cost vanadium producer in the world, allowing it to ride out any price weaknesses. So the good thing about ferro-alloys is because of that low cost, they should be able to ride out any of those weaknesses. So ferro-alloys, by contrast, produced 71.5 million tons of vanadium peroxide in the first half of 2019 and generated just over 1.1 million in revenue. So again, guys, it's penny stock. The money, the slow it is. We'll get into that. What's more, should be significant boost this year, as most of the work needed to boost production to 50 tons this month has already been completed. So again, what your mom was talking about, the growth, but I'm going to take you somewhere else here. As of March 15th, only a few days ago, ferro-alloy resources sets for expansion after sealing deal with former Extra boss Mike Davis. Let's have a listen and see what they're saying.
But just to simplify it, the convertible loan notes are really just quasi-equity. The only reason they've been issued in that form is because of technical legal restraints. So 3 stages, and it will come to $12.6 million, as you said, which gives us all the money that we need to do everything that we've told everyone we want to do and more. So we have some optionality now to actually do a better study than we were doing, and get more involved in making electrolyte and all the things that were on our wish list. So it really has set us up. And moreover, of course, the big star news is Mick, who brings all the credibility and the seal of approval, and everything we've been saying for the last 2 years since we listed. I think now people will take more notice of and believe it. We've attracted an investor of that caliber who's done his due diligence and wants to run with us.
Why do you think he wants to run with you?
Well, the project is absolutely fantastic. Anyone who knows the vanadium space knows that it's quite a small industry and the price is very volatile. But the problem with vanadium is that the cost of production. Most vanadium comes from a material called magnetite, and it's quite tricky to get the vanadium out of it. You've got to concentrate it, roast it, and then leach it, and there's a recovery factor at each stage, so you get a small amount of what's in there in the first place out, and it's very, very expensive and environmentally damaging because it's roasting. You're roasting up a huge amount of the Earth's crust to get a very small amount of vanadium, and you're roasting it to about 1100 degrees. And I tell you that story because we don't have to do any of that. Ours is much simpler. It's a different type of deposit. That boils down to a 60% less cost, capital costs, and 60% less operating costs. And it's a huge deposit. So we changed the world of vanadium. And so it is, in mining terms, everybody's dream project. And of course, I should say that vanadium is a battery metal, and that's a big part of the growth story of vanadium.
Okay guys, so this is my Trading 212 account, ferro-alloy resources, cat's out of the bag. You probably got guessed from watching the video that I am going to be investing in these guys. So I did, kind of came on my radar about this time last week, so last Saturday. So it's been on the radar for a week. I stuck the toe in on a few drinks in me on St. Patrick's Day, £32, risky, but I hadn't done my due diligence, so I stuck my toe in the water. I had read into it at a very high level. I seen the article that we just talked about there, and I thought, F it, I'm going for it, throwing over 100 quid in. Got it up, opened up, and then on the 19th, like 40% up. I thought, Jesus, I haven't done due diligence, let's just take out a bit of the profit here. Done my due diligence, and I ended up actually buying another £100 at the end of the day. Now my plan is to see what way it goes, because as I said, if we look at the chart, after a big rise like this here, it makes me nervy. It always sets up for a bit of a pullback. So I mean, if you pull out the chart, for example, you know, it was only on the 26th of February, so you're not even a month ago, it was sitting around 10p. And bear in mind, when this IPO'd in 2019, it was 65p it went in at, so it has had a fall from grace. The last week, you know, a 310% rise in the week, so you know, it's had a hell of a rise. You can see why I'm being a bit cautious. Now I've got a nice wee price here. You can see, okay, yes, I was up, I'd actually home run my money. I doubled my money on the first investment, but then I bought that £100. 39.8, yeah. So when I was looking at the MACD graph, and I managed to somehow get it just pretty much as sweet as a nut, and then I've read it back up. So I got an extra nice wee sort of 6-7% on that £100 investment straight off the bat. I'm going to try and add another £100 this week. I'm just going to give it time in case there's a wee bit of a pullback. I'm okay if it rises, but if it pulls back, you know, I'm okay with that as well, because I've got the money to buy in. It has one hell of a week, 300%. So yeah, approach with caution. But there's big catalysts, and if you're like me and you're going to plan to hold this for the next 10 years, it seems to be a well-run company. The management team's 45% invested. It IPO'd a couple of years ago at 65p. We're sitting about 49. So there's a lot of good things there. You know, the future does look good for this type of raw material in terms of the battery production, and it does have other avenues of revenue coming in. So yeah, for me it's good. Approach with caution as well with the AIM market, and I know it's a bit of a nightmare. However, what I will say is the trading that I have done so far, and I've done a few buying and selling, it's all went through relatively easy, which is good sign as well. So there you go, guys. I'd love to know your thoughts. I mean, go on and have a look at the balance sheets as well. The balance sheets are tidy enough, like, but they've done a lot of outlays, a lot of raising money. You know, it's not the greatest story, so I'm not going to bore you with that, like, but I like it. I'm in for the long term, and we'll see where it goes. And of course, guys, as always, I'll keep you informed. Please like, please subscribe, grow on the channel, leave your comments below, and don't forget, also this week's Twitter poll is live. Yet another mining one that people have requested, and there's a few other treats, especially Disney as well, which I'll be excited to do for you if that wins the vote. So yeah, get voting, guys, and until next time, peace.
Coincidence.
Yeah,
Coincidence.
something that happens by chance, I think not.